To learn a delicious, very simple, easy to make fermented food recipe for wonderful digestive and immune enhancing benefits. All right, welcome to another edition of Easy Upgrades. Here we have a very special guest today, Jody Campbell.
Hey everyone, how is everybody doing this afternoon? I'm happy to be here in Malcolm's kitchen.
Yeah, all right. So
this is great.
The theme of our show is we want to share with you simple, easy ideas that you can integrate into your life that are not complicated. You know, change nothing. Keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome. But what are those small little improvements, those small changes, things you can add into your everyday that are going to make a big difference? And Jody came on the show today with an idea, some inspiration, because you love fermented foods.
I love everything fermented, beverages, foods. I like that the bacteria does most of the work for me.
Right? Yeah. We were just
That's the easy part.
We were just chatting earlier, and Jody's like, I actually don't really like being in kitchens. I was
I
surprised.
know. I don't.
Yeah.
So everything that I like to do in the kitchen has to be simple, easy ingredients that I can understand so that I'm not having to Google and try to figure out what they are or where to get them from. So I like this recipe here. It's so simple, and you've heard of all of the ingredients, and I'm sure that you probably already have them in your fridge and pantry. So.
All right, so if you could relate to Jody, you don't like things that are complicated, you want something easy, something simple, something like health affirming, life enhancing, give it a thumbs up, post some comments down below. We want to make this fun, this interactive as we go through the recipes. All right, so this is a fermented ginger carrots.
Okay,
and
this is super simple. This is carrots, ginger, salt, and water. And I'm sure you've heard of all of those four things. So this is how simple this really is.
Yeah.
And I like this simple ferment. A lot of times when I'm doing a workshop and people really want to learn how to ferment their own foods, this is a really nice beginner ferment because it only takes about 3 to 5 days depending on how strong of a flavor that you want for it to develop on your counter. And it doesn't require any complicated tools. I'm sure that you already have everything in your own house.
Grater, cutting board, bowl, jars. That's about as high tech as we're going to get. And I love, just before we started here, you were sharing a little bit about this idea of this, because it is short. It's like almost like instant feedback, instant gratification. This is not a 2-week ferment. This is not even a 1-year ferment. Right?
No, this is a lot simpler. So I think people can be patient for 3 to 5 days in order to give it a try.
Yeah.
I've done this ferment with so many different people, and it's a really nice ferment even to get kids involved with as well in the prep work, and also eating it as well because most kids like carrot because of that sweetness. A little bit of ginger. If you like a lot of ginger, you can always add more, but the recipe adds a lot of flexibility. So this is what I really like about fermentation. It's not like baking where everything has to be precise.
Yeah.
Fermentation, you can be flexible, you can kind of just go with the flow, and you can amend things lots of the times with what you have on hand.
Yeah.
So don't overcomplicate this process at all. It's not necessary.
So let's dive in. We're going to give you the template, the concept, the recipe right now. Super simple. And we've done some of the prep work, so it's going to be even that much quicker.
Yeah, you don't have to watch me grate carrots. And ginger, we did that even ahead of time, so that's great. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to get this salt kind of dissolving into the water, and then we're going to pack our jar really nice and tight. So we're going to do that first. Let's get our salt into that water here. Okay, and so the recipe we did in the download is twice the amount. So it was 4 cups of carrots. We're going to work with 2 cups just in our demonstration here. So I'm just using 1 teaspoon of salt, or maybe I'm going to use 1.5.
So salt is really key because it's going to help create the right conditions for what we call a safe and friendly ferment. So you're not going to have to worry about the bad bacteria or molds or anything like that. Salt is a preservative. It creates the right conditions for these good bacteria, these friendly bacteria to grow and to thrive.
That's exactly it. And just be aware that you need to use a real salt as well.
For sure.
Not your typical table salt that you'd find at a restaurant or anything like that, because that will just kill everything. So you can use a Himalayan salt or a sea salt, and you can really, even later on as you kind of perfect this ferment, you can try different salts to give a different flavor. So I think we need 2 cups or 1 cup.
Yeah, somewhere in that
I don't know,
range.
you modified the recipe on me, so.
We're creating the saltwater brine that we're going to put the carrots and ginger into. So I want to make sure that salt is nicely dissolved in. And they're going to sit in that solution for 3 to 5 days. They're going to ferment, and it's going to become full of probiotics, these good bacteria, and we're going to be eating the carrots. If it was cucumbers, pickles, it's the same process. You're picking them out, you're eating them, then you're left over with all this brine. That is gold.
So the next thing here, this
let's use this one.
That one, you like that one?
Because it's not tapered.
Okay.
This is a wide mouth mason jar. You want to use that. So let's go ahead and pack that in.
Okay. Now let's do it on this side of this here.
Okay.
And I get to make a mess in somebody else's kitchen. This is fantastic.
Told Jody she has to stay and clean up afterwards.
So what's really important through here, if you don't have a packer, we're going to add this in here.
Packer meaning like a 10-year-old? That kind of packer? You know, like, all right, kid, this is your job.
Yeah, get it in there. You're just trying to really get the air out of it. The brine will do that as well. It'll cause bubbles, but you just really want to get that. Mix in the ginger as well. Some people, you can add in that ginger right in the bowl and get it all mixing to begin with, or you can add it in stages here.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. Don't overcomplicate the process.
And if you don't like ginger, I mean, unbelievable. I met someone the other day. It's like, no, I don't like ginger. Don't like cinnamon. You know, don't add it in. But I think it's one of those things that one of the benefits of fermented foods is increased digestion, right? So this type of food can be an addition to any meal. Think of it like a condiment. It's going to help stimulate digestion, not only from the flavor of it being sour and how that stimulates digestion, but also from the ginger and from the probiotics, right? These good bacteria, these enzymes that this is going to be filled with is one of the ways that we get that digestive increase. So, and again, we've left lots of room. I probably should have put Jody to work a little bit more, shred more carrots, but hey, we're modifying the recipe.
It's all good. You guys are getting the general idea. You've all have seen shredded carrots and ginger before, but this is a really nice, simple, easy, basic ferment.
And you can use any size container, and this is it, right? This is part of when you've got a massive harvest of carrots. What are you going to do with them? You know, fermentation has always been one of those ways of preserving the harvest, using it up. So if you've got a little, you've got a lot, pack it into any size jar or vessel.
So true.
Yeah, right? It all
Whatever
works.
you have on hand, it's a good way to recycle jars as well.
Yeah.
If you're buying certain things, so this is a really easy one here. So once you've kind of got that, I just don't want to leave anything on the sides we don't want.
Yeah.
Keep it nice and clean there.
All right.
Okay, so you can see how simple that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, next.
So now we're going to pour that brine in. We might not have to use all 2 cups. You want to get enough just so that we're covering here. As that bacteria develops as well, it could also break down that carrot even more and add in more liquid as well.
Yeah, so some of that's going to like make its way down, seep its way through. And one option here is, why don't you tell me about the, why are you so in love with a piece of glass there, Jody?
I just think it looks so pretty. It's kind of like jewelry in the fermentation world. I don't know, maybe somebody will come out with different colors.
Right, yeah.
I always see them in clear, but
yeah,
maybe somebody will take that idea and run with it. So this here will also help to keep that ginger and carrot submerged underneath the liquid, and it really needs to stay under that liquid so it's not being exposed to the oxygen as well.
Yeah, so the main thing here is we are facilitating what's called an anaerobic ferment. So we want these good bacteria to proliferate without oxygen. And anything that's submerged in that salt water, that is an anaerobic environment. And that's why Jody was really making sure she was pushing it all down. And as well as this pickle pebble, they call it. This is something we sell at the Light Cellar. You can find them customized for the shape of a narrow mason jar or a wide mouth mason jar. And we have fermentation pots where there's weights that you can add that are very much the same. And so that keeps everything underneath and in the brine, which we want it to.
Yeah, exactly. And the other part about this as well, if you want to get into that fermentation, and you want to start out small, I kind of think of this as micro batching.
Right.
You do not have to go out and get a 5-gallon or a 10-gallon fermenting pot to get started or make such a large investment. The one thing I did find though with that, pickle pebbles.
Yeah.
They really do hold everything nicely and down, and
Yeah.
it's nice that you guys are carrying those because some people can't wait for delivery and they can just zip down to the light cellar and pick them up, so that's convenient. But you don't have to invest in hours of grating cabbage or carrots or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to experiment with different flavors as well, so you don't have to commit to a whole big fermenting crock in one flavor. So this is a great way to get yourself into it, not a lot of time, but you will definitely get the benefits and so will your digestive system. So this is a really, just start small. Don't overwhelm yourself.
For sure. Test this out, right? Do we maybe have like $1.50 worth of carrots in there? Maybe 50 cents worth of ginger, even if it was $5, right? That's our experiment. We can just test this out. If it goes horribly wrong, which it won't. It's going to
really
work out.
Won't.
Yeah.
At such a short time frame on the counter, it's not really going to have a lot of exposure to what's in the air or molds or yeast or anything like that. This is, and you're going to be able to try it out. So that's the really great part. It's really nice and simple.
And actually another method I'll often use is mason jars. So you've got your wide mouth and then small ones in. So like that can fit in, no problem. Just put a little bit of water to kind of add that weight.
That works too.
Even there's like an even more micro batch, right?
Yes.
So that can also be used as your weight. So got everything submerged. Now we're just going to leave that out at room temperature, right?
Yes, we're going to put that on the counter. I typically put a cloth on it. There's other people besides myself moving around in my kitchen, and I don't want debris to be falling into it, even though I kind of put it off into a little corner. So I will either put something like a J cloth or a double layer of cheesecloth, just so that nobody's dropping anything into it. And then I just set it aside, making sure it's not having any direct sunlight or anything like that. It's just kind of tucked away, undisturbed. Just give it some time for that bacteria to start breaking things down.
So it's the natural bacteria that are going to come from the carrots, that are from the ginger. They're going to be able to grow and proliferate in the salt water. They inhibit all the bad bacteria. Again, that anaerobic environment. They grow, they thrive, they reproduce, they multiply, and they begin to acidify it, right? So we're going to get more of a sour flavor that's going to come out of this. Again, that sour, it's going to increase digestion along with the ginger, and it's going to be tasty.
And it's a nice way to use food as a way to get probiotics as well.
So true.
And I think if you can start out with the basics and add in with other vegetables, I really think that is a good way to broaden your horizons and give different species of bacterias and enzymes into the system as well. So this is a good one. I like this one. You can't get any easier than this.
That's right.
You could get easier. You could go to the light cellar because they're already made.
For sure. There's a time and a place, for buying these, right? Maybe if you're just trying, am I even going to like the flavor? But once you start making it, handmade, homemade, by you is definitely the way to go.
That's exactly. Like I know with some of the flavors when I'm at the light cellar, I'm always checking the cooler to see what's new.
What's new, different ones.
And then I will take home and I may modify it a little bit, or I like exactly how it's done. I really like the dill.
Right. Delicious.
It was pretty darn fantastic. I think I made a 5-gallon pot of the dill.
Wow. You went all in.
I did. I committed to that flavor. So that's a good one. So that's a really great way for people too. Another thing I like to recommend is you guys have a workship coming up at the end of April.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one.
So if you want to go deeper into this process, it's pickles, it's sauerkraut, it's cheese, both dairy and non-dairy, yogurt, dairy and non-dairy.
I think that's a great way. Sometimes people may feel a little bit, well, you've seen how easy this was,
right?
But if you're wanting to take it and you're kind of wanting that little bit more hands-on before you take that first step, then you absolutely should take a workshop, because these are the types of foods that you really want to be integrating back into the lifestyle.
It's that simple, right? So we're going to leave it on the counter in a couple of days. We'll check it. We can taste it, enjoy it. Once you have it fermented, after that 3 to 5 days, you're going to put a sealed lid on it, mason jar, into the fridge. That can be stored for up to a year, no problem.
It's not going to last a year.
No.
It's not even going to last
Right? I bet you your 5-gallon pot didn't even last a year, right? You went through that.
It didn't. It really didn't. We went through that so fast. So once you kind of just add these things in, it just kind of crowds out some other things that maybe you want to crowd out. So this is a great place to start and get going.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. This was another edition of Easy Upgrades. And if you have any suggestions, other topics, other recipes that you want to see us cover, happy to do that. I want to thank Jody for coming on, being our special guest this week.
Well, I'm so excited to be in your kitchen. It was really great. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So you can find Jody at jodycampbell.ca, holistic health coach. Thanks again for tuning in. All right. Thanks to our Instagrammers who've been on the sidelines tuning in. We got some comments there. Carrots. Yes. Awesome.